What we can confirm is the state police are saying that a body has been found in the Berrenbun Mountains in not an accessible place. And a spokesman for the Lucy Blackman Trust, which is handling media inquiries for Nora's family, said this time we cannot confirm it is Nora. However, sadly, it seems likely. Investigations are underway to confirm identity and cause of death. Mark Williams-Thomas, former police detective, and Clarence Mitchell, Kate and Gerry McCann's ex-media spokesman, now PR consultant, both join us in the studio this morning. Very sad news. It does seem likely this is Nora. Mark, the parents initially were not ruling out abduction. We're hearing from the police that her body's found not in an accessible place, which perhaps means she may have fallen or been taken somewhere.
So our thoughts with the family at this moment in time until they confirm, obviously, that it is Nora. The situation is that Nora left the bedroom in the early hours of Sunday morning, and she left in her dressing gown, in her bedclothes. She had nothing on her feet, she took no shoes with her, and of course the family then thought initially that this was a third party to check that out as far as identification, and then once they've done that, treat it as a crime scene, do all the forensic analysis to make sure that there is no third party involvement, and then obviously once they've done that, recover Nora's body and then work with the family in terms of the recovery back to the UK.
That'll be important for her family, Clarence, won't it? That they, you know, they believed that she was abducted. They didn't think that she'd wandered off, but they will now want to know how she got.
As Mark says, my heart obviously goes out to the family if this does indeed turn out to be Nora, as sadly seems to be the case. Yes, this will enable the police and the family to get some answers now. And that is important given the trauma that they would have been plunged into the very day after they arrived at the resort. There were parallels in that sense with the search for Madeleine in the early days. Clearly, the family, from what I saw, were doing everything they could and doing it right. They had established good relations with the police, which is always important. If that falls apart, it causes all sorts of further problems down the line. They were beginning to get wider international media coverage. I know it had got traction in Ireland, obviously.
Yeah. But you know, you're saying the family doing everything they could. Were we, the media, doing everything we could? Because it was a story in Ireland, not so much in UK. This family live in London. They're French-Irish descent. And like the McCanns, which you will know, when this happened, it happens abroad in a different jurisdiction. How important is feeding the story, keeping it alive?
Any family, and God forbid any other family is put into this position, but any family that finds themselves in the middle of this needs to generate not just local media coverage for people who are actively involved or might be closer to the person who's missing, but internationally as well, because that, in effect and indirectly, puts pressure on the authorities to keep the searching going and be as vigorous and proactive as possible. If it falls out of the news cycle, not only does it damage the family's confidence and hopes, it can ease the pressure on some of the local police forces involved. In this case, we had the British police, the French and Irish involved.
Yes, I was just going to say, what support would the family be getting from police here?
So they've had huge support. Lucy Blackman Trust, which is a fantastic organisation, they stepped in really very early on, within 24 hours, supporting the family, both in terms of being a coordination for that media attention, but also to answer some of those questions. The family were exhausted. I had an update about the family last night, and they were literally getting a few hours sleep. They were just absolutely shattered. They have had, again, in the last 36 hours, support from Garda. So from Ireland, the Irish police sent over a family liaison officer. That individual is now with them and supporting them, which will be crucial at this moment in time.
But they won't have anything to do with the actual investigation itself?
No, the investigation is very much a Malaysian investigation, but the British authorities are aware. National Crime Agency were keeping a watch in terms of what was taking place, and certainly Garda were across there. And they've got feet on the ground now, the support to the family. And a family liaison officer at this moment in time is so crucial.
Indeed, and Kate and Gerry, of course, had a family liaison officer. They also had a psychologist who they got to know very well, who went out to help them deal with the mental trauma of Madeleine going missing. So in that sense, Nora's family, I think, and I hope, will be well catered for, as you say. But clearly, if this is the worst possible news, which it appears to be, this is going to take a long time for them to come to terms.
Nora was a vulnerable child. And then there was a reward came forward yesterday from an anonymous Belfast businessman offering £10,000. We make this discovery today. We don't know if the two incidents are connected or not. Does this do any good, this offering rewards?
It's a very natural reaction to feel that if you put an incentive out there, somebody who knows something must probably come forward. It tells the authorities the family were very clearly of the view that there was someone out there with information. They wouldn't do it otherwise. The reality is those rewards probably are hardly ever claimed because they don't necessarily lead directly to a discovery. And frankly, sometimes that money is probably better spent on either private investigators or specialist search teams, if possible. But that becomes very expensive very quickly. And local authorities also, there are difficulties between different jurisdictions allowing them to work. But that's what that was the decision Kate and Gerry had to make.
What about people getting involved with their theories of what happened? There's a shaman believed to be able to summon spirits who joined the search.
You know, that's really unhelpful for the family because it's not something that they can actually take away. And what happens in times like this, and you know, I've worked with so many families in that situation, is that they cling to anything, any bit of hope that they get, they'll go with. So when someone comes forward and says, "Well, try this," they'll go, "Well, OK, we'll give it a go." The family obviously put up this £10,000 reward. There was a lot of discussion about whether that was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do because sadly they don't often give information. What they do is they attract a lot of people from outside. You know, they had at least 5, 6 mediums that came forward who were giving information. They've never proved to find anybody.
Did Kate and Gerry have the same?
Over the last 12 years, we've had several thousand psychic tip-offs come in, visions, sightings, belief of exactly what happened.
It must be very hard for the family, you know, that you're always hopeful, you're ever hopeful.
It's extremely hard. 99.9% of them are incredibly well-meaning and delivered in the best possible spirit. Some of them, though, aren't. But ultimately, have any of them led to Madeleine being found? No. So you do wonder and question the value of it. If a shaman helps local people feel respectful of a local spiritual leader and makes them search more, well, perhaps there's some advantage there. But frankly, Nora was always going to be found through modern technology and policing, even though I understand it's a local person who has found this particular body today. But essentially, the spiritual component, it's respectful of local traditions.
What we do know,
but
the facts we do know is that she was born with learning difficulties. She was barefooted at the time of her disappearance. She was wearing only a nightdress. Police saying no sign of an intruder in the property. Again, story you'd be all too aware of.
Parallels, yes. Parallels. Different circumstances,
yeah.
but similarity, a holiday, a disappearance, and
so,
no trace.
Very, very sad. Police confirming the body has been found in the Bayram Mountains, not an accessible place, and it is believed that it is that of Nora Quoirin there with that. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.